We have something that is really a very exciting part of our program. It's part of our panel discussion off the end with experts in the field. We get an insider's view of what's going on, not unlike we just did get an insider's view on the technology. This gives us an insider's view into particular fields and also in organizations on the recruiting side. So to begin with, I'm going to introduce who's going to be our moderator of this discussion, and I'm delighted to introduce somebody who's been a really important leader in our organization, worked with many different not-for-profits, both as a consultant, has worked in social services, local employment, not-for-profit housing, and a passion for creating community responsive services. So in addition to his MBA from the UBC Sauder School of Business, David is an accredited partnership broker, authorized practitioner trainer with the Partnership Brokers Association. So please join me in welcoming David Lee, Director of Employment, Language and Social Enterprise. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me fine at the back? Okay. If there are any issues, just let us know. We've got the mics up here for our esteemed panelists. And super happy to see all of you here. It's near the end of a pretty full day. How's the day been so far? Kudos to the team, Allison, for guiding us through the day. We're going to have this really important perspective shared with you now, which is from an insider's perspective on employers and how they view the use of AI. I'm going to introduce our three panelists. We'll spend about a half hour hearing from them, and then we'll open it up for questions, leading us to the home stretch for another thing you're probably all waiting for, which is the big draw for those of you who stay the full day. So what I'd like to do is start with the panelists. Starting nearest me is Anita Bandari. Anita is the Chief HR Officer from the City of Burnaby. Let's give Anita a welcome. And just as a fun fact about Anita, there's a couple of things. Anita is the mother of a Division I lacrosse player who is now continuing to project forward in her sports career.
Soon to be.
Soon to be. And absolute mad dog mom.
Definitely. I'll just add in, my kids seem to think I love my dog more than I do them, which is true.
Thank you, Anita. Next to Anita, we have Sunny Prabhakar, who is the Program Curriculum Administrator at Sprott Shaw College, which is focused on business education. Let's give Sunny a warm welcome. Now, just an interesting small fact about Sunny. He actually is self-taught in terms of playing the keyboard, and he founded an orchestra that plays Bollywood music. So that's just a fun thing, and I'm sure there's lots of opportunity to celebrate through music.
Yeah, because I was self-taught, I was not that good, so now I could attract a lot of good musicians. Now I'm out. I'm the president of the organization, but I don't play the keyboard anymore. That's one problem.
So an important founding role in providing the opportunity for others. Thank you, Sunny.
Yeah, that's it. That's the spirit, yeah.
Then on the far side, we have got Gagan Sekon from RBC. Again, RBC, our headline sponsor. Gagan is a relationship manager, commercial financial services. And a fun fact about Gagan is he describes himself as a proud, crazy cat dad of 2 cats. Welcome, Gagan.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. It's my first event at MOSAIC, and yeah, I'm just really excited to have a engaging dialogue with my fellow panelists and all of you.
Thank you. And somewhat intentionally, we did separate Anita and Gagan, dog mom, cat dad, just to make sure. But this is all about collaborative, friendly, building on each other's stories. So we have 4 questions which we'd love to go through with the panelists. The first question is your organization currently using AI for recruitment? And if so, how?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I'm not going to lie. I really don't have notes here. They're the questions. It's directions on how to get here. But is your organization currently using AI to match candidates with jobs? Yeah, we are actually. Well, I did a little bit of research before we came just to find out a little bit more. I'm the Chief Human Resources Officer, but I have a Director of Employment Services. And what I found is we use a platform called Taleo, which has AI algorithms in the background that helps source out some of the candidates and shortlist them for us. We get over thousands of applications, so sometimes it really helps being able to streamline them. Beyond that, we do use other tools such as chats and Copilot to help, develop questions, sometimes some data analytics, and also with the communication.
Wow, so quite comprehensive at the City of Burnaby, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's interesting. We continue to evolve, and actually I got to give credit to our IT department. They're continuously trying to deploy with intention. So they tend to look at us and figure out what exactly do you need in order to get to that next level. So I give the credit to them.
Thank you. And how about at Sprott Shaw, Sunny?
Sprott Shaw, currently we don't use anything like Taleo or Workday or anything like that, even though we have grown big. So we are now thinking of having such tools to have that. Now, until now, we were doing just the normal way of taking the applications and interviewing people and all that. But now that we have grown a little bigger, we are using the Indeed platform. Okay, Indeed has this AI platform there, which has got Indeed is one of probably the biggest, as far as even I think it's even bigger than LinkedIn, or probably they're almost comparable. Now, what's good about that is it's got a very good exposure to candidates, like very wide range of candidates. But then there are certain aspects, there are certain areas where we have problems in Sprott Shaw, because Sprott Shaw it's a college, and then we have several study areas like nursing, and we have areas like healthcare and business and all that. And when you're talking about ECE or nursing, there are not many instructors we can get because there is already a shortage in the market for that. So you don't really have to go for an AI platform. So those areas we actually do one-to-one. And then as we were always discussing today, the community-based, contact-based, reference-based approach, that's also working for us.
Thank you, Sunny. And how about RBC, Gagan?
Yeah, thank you. Although RBC does utilize AI, recruitment is still an area where there is opportunity to integrate AI. However, when it comes to screening candidates for potential positions at RBC, we take experience that candidates have in Canada, but most importantly, we welcome experience from outside of Canada as well. And most notably, we want to hone in on the transferable skills a candidate can bring for that opportunity for current role and future role considerations. So to my colleague's point, it is more face-to-face right now in those client-facing roles, and we look at the experience closely, we look at the skills, and we match accordingly in that regard.
Thank you. And I think this follows along the theme of what we've heard throughout the day, which is around AI enhancing or augmenting the work of folks who work in HR and recruitment.
Exactly. And there's a point there, AI augmenting it. And when we are looking at candidates, one thing we want to do is, did you just blindly take AI and then apply, or did you use it as a draft? Because when we are interviewing people, we want to know whatever you've mentioned in your resume, or it's kind of reflecting here. Your resume might look exemplary, but then in the interview, if you're not matching it, then we know that you are using some tool. So make sure of that. Like all the morning sessions, they advise you to make your resume very good and everything, that's great, but then make sure that it's honest, so that there's a match. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just going to add to it. Sorry, you made me think of a story. One of the things I always tell my staff is we have to embrace technology, but don't lose yourself and don't let the technology guide you. You need to guide the technology. And the story that comes to mind is I have this wonderful manager who's absolutely engaging in their communication. And, you get busy. So then you start leaning on technology such as ChatGPT to help write communication. And what I noticed one day was the communication sounded like everybody else's communication. And I pulled him aside. I said, hey, look. I said, I'm missing the way you sound in this. So why not do this, is use it as a foundation for your bones in the communication and add your flair back into it and add in those little pieces of how you salutate and how you open it up and a little bit of you. So I think that's going to be the evolution, is just don't let it control you. Use it to augment what you do and make it better.
Wow, those are great words of advice, and it's about keeping our uniqueness. So why don't we shift momentarily to things that are non-recruitment or HR related? How within your organization, or perhaps industry, are other ways that you're seeing AI being applied?
Yeah, I can start on this one. So RBC does leverage AI in multiple areas. To start, for our personal banking clients, we have the KnowMe platform. It's utilized in our online RBC mobile app. It guides users for automated budgeting tips, saving suggestions, and cash flow predictions. I've personally benefited from having a KnowMe savings account. For our capital markets team who deal in trades, they use the Aiden platform. It's a deep learning trading algorithm that adjusts to market conditions in real time, therefore enhancing the accuracy and efficiency of those trades. And then, of course, in this day and age, fraud is a hot topic, especially when it comes to privacy and securing the data of our clients. So AI assists in ID verification and any fraud prevention for our clients as well, because we want to ensure the privacy and data of our clients is well respected.
Great, thanks, Gagan. So we're hearing both about the what helps your organization serve customers and also enables your team members to do their work better.
You got it, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, in our case, Spracha is a college, basically. We have different departments. What's special about college is people are usually academic. You have a lot of instructors. And before the management knew, before we even woke up to that, a lot of instructors were using ChatGPT and all those kind of platforms. There are also specialized platforms for education, right? So they would actually make if they want to explain something to the student, and if the textbook doesn't do that job, they would go to this kind of a platform, and then they will write up something and they will distribute it. They will help the students with that and everything. And it was it became rife in there. And then the people in the administration department, when they want to write something, they would take a draft from, this thing. And so much so that now we wanted to have a AI policy, because one of the problems that we faced was the students were cheating. Some students, to learn from ChatGPT, that's good. But if you're cheating in the exam, if you're making assignments using ChatGPT, now that's a problem. So we started having conversations in the company. We started having in fact, we set up a team, and then there were representatives from every department. I was also one of them, and we were discussing of various ideas of doing it. And then so that we would all pass our information to them, plus positive and negative, as you said. Fraud is something which we wanted to stop, and based on that, they will come out with which hasn't happened yet, but there will be a policy coming in place. And then for many of the teaching material that we teach, we have incorporated certain AI platform simulations and things like that. If students who do digital marketing, They actually get a data set, they go into a specific platform, and then they pretend to be selling something. There are mock customers in it. It's actually you're selling something online, but you're not really selling online. You're selling in this kind of platform. So that way we're doing. A lot of things are happening, and those things will keep improving also. As more AI gets more and more powerful, students will get more and more real life kind of experience in that.
So ours isn't as exciting, but we do use various platforms like Copilot, and we also use Chat, which is a purchased version of Chat, so it's not the one that's just generic online. What I find is we are using it more and more for communications, data analytics, and presentations, and it helps quite a bit because what it does is it gives you more of the bare bones, but the part that right now we're piloting is how to use it without populating information in it that's confidential. And then the other part that I'm kind of researching a bit, which I think is interesting, is right now with the amount of data and records management we have, what I find with Copilot sometimes is I can't find a document quick enough, and you can use it to actually start going through the drives to locate certain information for you and pull out all that data that you need for the reports you're writing. So I find it quite useful, and I think there's a lot of different areas. But again, I think it's mindful use, is really understanding what it can do and using it intentionally and knowing what you're looking for.
Thanks, Anita. Just for my own clarification, Copilot, is that a Microsoft embedded within Microsoft Office 365 and all?
I need lessons on this microphone. Yes, it is. We use it. It's Microsoft-based. It's actually embedded within our Teams and in our drives as well, so our documents when you open up PowerPoint, Word, Excel.
Great, thank you.
We also use Microsoft platform, actually.
Okay.
So we have Copilot embedded in there.
Okay, excellent. So the next question kind of leads on from some of the things you've just shared. Anita, you were talking about mindful use of AI. And Sunny, you were sharing the fact that, you know, your instructors were just going ahead and using ChatGPT or AI to support their materials, their content. And so within our organizations, what have you done to either guide or constrain your staff in the use of AI? What kind of supports or guidelines?
Perfect. For us, what we've done is policies. I think it's really important to put some parameters in place so people feel secure using it and understand what your organization allows you to use it for. The other part is education. I think technology can be frightening sometimes, especially nowadays where you see a lot of stories around hacking or breaking into certain systems. So really being intentional on educating. And then I think the last part is, and I used this earlier, and I stole this from our GM of IT, is deploying with intention. So rather than just deploying generic tools everywhere, is really looking at that area and deploying tools that make sense for them. So then, they feel more secure when they're using it.
Great, thanks, Anita.
Yeah, well, that's quite impressive to hear, because I read some statistics somewhere that only 0.5% of the companies have an AI policy in place. We are going to come out with it. We are already working on it. We are going to come out with it. The main thing we want to tell our staff, right now, that's what we are promoting within the company. If you're using ChatGPT, if you're using AI, use it as a starting point. Use it as just a draft. Don't blindly copy paste it and send it, things like that, because AI is prone to hallucinations. You might have heard of that, hallucinations. It's a technical term now, actually. It's an AI technical term. AI will think up things which are not true, and then it'll write there. So I have had that experience when I was trying to develop some curriculum for something, and then, I thought I'll take its help in the beginning, and when you read through it, you will find that there are a lot of things that's never invented, It's there in it, so AI went and invented it. So that's something which we want to stop. And we want people to use it with caution because it's a technology, it's, so it's, so that basic principle is very important, yeah.
So intention, caution.
Intention, caution, and don't kind of over rely on it and then trust it too much.
Yes.
Yeah, the technology is not yet perfect. That's a main problem. Yeah.
It was invented by humans after all.
It was. Yeah.
How about Gagan within RBC?
Yeah, so back in 2016, RBC was an early adopter of AI with Borealis AI. It's a division of RBC. It's a research institute that drives AI solutions to address the fundamental challenges in the financial sector. So for example, in my previous capacity, in my role, I was a branch manager in Abbotsford. It was quite the commute for me, but I'm glad I don't have to do that commute anymore. But it's a client-facing role, so we had to constantly balance decisions every day in terms of, how do we continue to provide value-added advice to our clients and maintaining the goal of their financial wellness and really respecting their privacy and the risk associated with that AI. And, I'm going to share the same sentiment as my colleagues here. Education was a big point for us because we had to guide them to our self-serve tools online. And some of those platforms I mentioned earlier, such as Nomi, was a key takeaway. There's only so much the staff can do in person when it comes to driving AI solutions. But again, it's a policy in place. It was a fine balance between advice and using AI to provide that advice.
Thank you, Gagan. And maybe just a follow-up question, starting with Gagan. In terms of an employee just starting in their first week, their first month, what might be the introduction of the use of AI for that employee?
Yeah, great question. So if somebody, I'll use an example. If I hired somebody, they're new to the role, they're training, they'll learn everything about RBC, products and services, our work culture, their colleagues, and they'll soon realize where the competitive edge with RBC is, and a lot of those platforms are designed for clients to use at their leisure for online banking, and I think that's where we would guide them to use it. In the office, we tend to stay away from, I hate to use the word policy, but we tend to stay away from the chat GPTs, especially when you're connecting with our clients and their financial picture. But I will say, AI is innovative, and where we are seeing the biggest change is our back-end processes to further develop our platforms to offer more AI solutions to our clients from the convenience of their home.
Great. Thank you, Gagan. And Sunny, at Sprott Shaw, kind of introduction to AI for new employees, what does that look like?
Yeah, as you said, HI is better than AI, human intelligence. We encourage people to use it to the extent that it improves your efficiency, you can be faster and things like that, but not blindly, So the HI should be above AI. So that's a principle, yeah. So you can make a first draft with it, you can check your grammar, you can get ideas from it. Like if I want to develop, let's say I want to make something, let's say I want to make a curriculum. If I want a framework for a curriculum, that's great. It'll right away give me. Now I have something to work with. It would have taken a long time for me to make, right? So the draft letter or things like that, those are good. But after that, that personal touch should come. Most of the time what we find is the output from AI is very standard, very generic, So it doesn't stand out. Whether you're communicating with your customer, whether you're communicating, trying to teach students or communicating with your own colleagues, there should be some uniqueness in that. Yeah.
Thanks, Sunny. And Anita.
I'm going to share a story first. Sorry, you made me think of something before I answer the question. I always have stories. Ask my kids. So one of the stories is that I remember attending a conference not long ago, and one of the individuals, they spoke about how technology is evolving so quickly, and we need to keep up to it, but it's not going to replace humans. And you made me think about this right now, actually, was she talked about calculators, and everybody was so scared that when they introduced calculators, well, we're not going to use our brains anymore. But what it forced us to do is evolve the way we do things, and it created more efficiencies and effectiveness. So that's the way I kind of look at AI, is it's just going to cause us to evolve the way we do things and make us more efficient and be able to produce things a lot quicker. So as far as education, though, I think it's just regularly part of our onboarding. I do think covering policies is important at the very beginning, because then people understand where they can use it and how they can use it. And then we also have various training modules through Articulate and other platforms where people can further educate themselves on how to properly use it. And then I think the last part is, having the tools actually deployed properly within the departments, so the ones that are there are appropriate for the work you're doing. I think those are the simple things we do to make sure that people are educated and they're introduced to it when they first start.
Great.
And that reminds me, we also encourage employees to go and learn about AI, the prompt engineering and things like that. You get a lot of courses to learn that. The more prompt engineering you learn, the better you are working with AI. There's a saying, AI won't take your job. People who know better AI will. So.
Great, thank you. And it's heartening to hear how, as employers, you are providing resources and education and encouraging people to educate themselves around the use of AI. Now, just ahead of, we've got one more question, but I would encourage those of you who have a question that you would like to hear directly from our employer panelists. And we've got a really unique opportunity to hear from both different sectors. We've got both public and private sector. We've got organizations that have many different departments. So I think that's a really unique opportunity. So encourage you to consider getting ready with your questions. But just ahead of that is to hear from our panelists around just an opportunity to share a story of how either you yourself or within your organization you've heard about the use of AI that's really stood out for you.
I can start with this one. So when I was in the branch, it was almost a daily occurrence, unfortunately, where we were dealing with a fraud situation. And coming from a few years ago to where we are now, driven by AI, it's nice to see the fraud prevention and security in place for our clients. So it may be a little tedious at times doing a basic interaction online, but it's nice to see additional security in place, such as predicting any irregular spending habits. It can detect whether it's you or somebody has done an account takeover, compromise your ID. There's different ways to verify through uploading, taking photos, and it can analyze the picture to ensure it is you. So I think that's my story to share, and I'm proud to see that happen, because unfortunately I've seen one too many client situations and had heart-to-hearts with clients where they were taken advantage of through fraudsters. So yeah, it's great to see that.
Great, thank you, Gagan.
Yeah, we have, more than one story has come to my mind, actually. In our case, one of the selection methods that we do is, job sampling. Job sampling is, some of you might not have heard about job sampling. Silicon Valley companies do that. Nowadays what they're doing is, when you see someone's resume and they're very good, it's very good, and in the interview they're answering all the questions really well and everything, but that's not the full picture, right? Like Lee Iacocca said, I have never seen a bad resume. So when they actually start working, how good are they in working? So you teach to an AI, and the AI will pretend to be the student and then ask questions, right? And so the same idea, or even the other situation, an admin person is joining, we want to test that person. So again, AI can simulate the situation. You're getting emails, you're getting phone calls and whatnot, right? So that's something you can do. And then this gave rise to, during our discussions, some of the teachers were coming out with these ideas like, why not we use, when we want to train a teacher, like I'm preparing a lesson and then I want to know if this lesson is really effective to my students. I want to ask AI, okay, AI, pretend to be a student, not just one student, pretend to be a class of 30 students. I'm going to teach you and ask me questions. And then in the end, give me a feedback, how well did I do, you know? So these are all the kind of mind-boggling ideas that are coming up. So I think there's a long way to go with AI.
Yeah. And we can't predict where it's going, but these are really interesting things to be looking forward to.
Absolutely.
And to be aware of. Okay, to Anita.
I'll try to make it quick. You're actually making me think of a quick story of why we did something. It's a story, sorry, you'll get used to this. It makes me think of BlackBerry and iPhone for some reason, and it makes me think way back when BlackBerry thought they'd stay steady and stick to what everybody was familiar with, and Apple decided to advance. And that makes me think of how we're heading as a city. One of the things we introduced was a planning application review process, and what it did was it started expediting the way we approve applications for permits. Another one is our 311 call center. We're starting to look at chat boxes, and it's not to take away the human connection, and it's always going to be there. I don't think we'll ever replace humans, but it's really looking at how quickly society is evolving and how quickly we need answers. So yeah, I think those are a couple of the ways that we've introduced AI in a creative way.
Great. Thank you, Anita, Sunny, Gagan. Now, we're open for questions. If anyone would like to come to a mic, I see someone by mic 1.
My name is Ning. I just want to quickly ask, the question comes two parts. So first part is, in your all respective field, in your observation, I understand there's different level of role and position needs different set of skills. So at this stage, what are some, we'll call it AI/technical/ digital skill related are, important? Across the board. So that's the first part. And the second part is, how can we envision the future, let's say 5 or 10 years down the road, what are some AI-related skills is going to benefit for no matter people are looking for work or prepare that step? What are some tips and tricks can you provide? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, great and challenging question. You're asking them to predict the future.
That was going to be my answer. I don't know. Did you want to go?
Yeah, I can take it on. Thank you so much for the question. So to your first part, the skills, and there's multiple areas in the organization. So I would say that, depending on your interest and which area you want to get into, know your long-term plan for your career, where you want to go. And earlier on, I mentioned that AI is not being used in recruitment at RBC, and what we really do focus is on work experience in and out of Canada, but most importantly, transferable skills. So if you go into a particular role and you know the direction you want to go, leverage and work on the skill set needed of that role, but also have skills in mind for your future role considerations. And that will be my best advice when it comes to that. As for the future, all I can say is RBC is heavily invested in AI, especially when it comes to back-end processes. So as of right now, AI matching those transferable skills in your application or seeking certain opportunities, it's not there yet. It's more of the human connection and the touch and the screening. However, do I see it in the future? Possibly.
Thank you, Gagan.
My advice will be, to add to that, when you're talking about the future, what does AI do? Like, as I said, at present at least, AI is not going to take away your job, but then people who know better, AI will take your job, right? That's the thing. Why? Because look at examples, like, okay, you are a computer programmer. At one point when AI was a hype, even now it's a little bit of a hype, okay. But there was a belief that no more computer programmers anymore, it'll all be done by AI. No, that's not the way it's happening, right? Computer programmers are still needed, but they're using AI. So instead of making 50 lines an hour, they'll be making 200 lines an hour because AI is going to help them. With the help of AI, they're going to make. So if you're a computer programmer, a lot of those computer programmers will lose their job because you're doing 4 people's work. So who is the person who is going to stay there? The person who is going to stay there are the good computer programmers. They're not simply, all your routine work will be taken away by AI. If you really think to the future, your routine works are being taken away by AI. But the non-routine, the human work, like the human touch that they're talking about. What are the human touch when you're talking about? The soft skills, your conceptual skills, what are your top management thinking about? So you're starting to think 2 levels above your level, because you are thinking about today's job, your boss is thinking about what's going to happen next month. So develop those kind of skills, so that you can think like managers and develop those kind of skills so that you can manage AI. So that's one thing. And then if you want to be good with AI, prompt engineering is something which I would recommend you. But they say after a few years there will be no prompt engineering because AI will be so good you can just talk to it, right? But now I think prompt engineering will help you a lot. Now, depending on your industry which you are in, specifically if you are an automation engineer, learn about the predictive AI that's been used in automation. So depends. There will be specific AIs in your profession. Yeah, those things also get a grasp of that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sunny. And Anita.
Good question. You're making me think of the Jetsons. I don't know why, but so I think what I would say is embrace it. Sometimes things are not going to be within our control. And AI technology, it's coming. It's something we have to learn to embrace and work with. I think it's really take the time to be curious and understand what's in front of you, and then adopt it with an understanding. I think for the future, I kind of have a different opinion than you. I don't know if this, maybe you should be in the middle of us. But I think that, I don't think it's going to replace people. And a great example is you look at cashiers at the grocery store. It didn't eliminate positions. What it did was it changed the way they do the work. So I think that's the way we have to start thinking is, here's some baseline stuff. It took us 8 hours to get this work done. Well, now if we introduce technology, that's going to reduce the amount of time it gets to do that work. So perhaps that day can incorporate more work. So it's just really looking at it a little bit differently. And that's really where I think the future is going. I think we're going to get more and more intelligent technology, AI, and we just got to reinvent ourselves and engage with what's coming.
I'll just quickly add to that. You made me think of something that, not just RBC, all banks. To your point of that story with the cashiers, automated teller machines. When they were introduced, ATMs, tellers or client advisors at RBC, there was a big scare that folks were going to lose their job. That did not happen because a human connection is always needed, and we need to provide that value-added advice. So, however, it just made the branch world more efficient. It gave clients more options to do their everyday banking.
Great, thank you. Now, we have one more question over here if you want to introduce yourself and ask your question, and we've got some up on screen which we'll get to.
My name is Hamid. I am really thankful to MOSAIC and the partners for making this happen. I have one small question from the panelists. How to find the hidden job and apply for it other than the networking?
All right, so non-networking approaches to getting hired.
Yeah, finding a hidden jobs, which are
Hidden jobs.
hidden jobs.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. So hidden job market.
I can talk about it. The hidden job market, what's the hidden job market? What they say is 80% of the jobs are hidden, right? It's only the 20% of the jobs that you see as advertisements. In fact, by the time you see an advertisement on the newspaper or web or whatever, it's already too late, all right? Because I want to take an instructor, I want that instructor today, or I wanted it actually yesterday. I will ask her, hey, do you know someone? because I don't want to go to my HR department, give them okay, here is my, requirement, write it down, give it to them, and that guy doesn't have time to look at it, then he puts it back to me, and then, Sunny, there's something wrong there, there's no equality, it's not politically correct. Do all those kind of things to and fro, and then finally he gives it to an advertiser.
Not to disparage all HR departments and professionals in this.
No, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but what happens is it takes a lot of time, and then finally he will bring in a bunch of applications to me, and I don't have the time to go through that. If she knows someone, and if she's she's working with me, I know her, and if she says someone is good, they're going to be good. So call, I didn't get your name. Call Hani. Yeah, call Hani, and Hani will work for me, right? I'll just inform them. They say, there's a saying, don't ask for permission, ask for pardon. So go and say sorry to the HR department. I already got Hani, regularize it.
But this is still happening through networking.
This is always happening through networking. So this is the hidden job market, and that's 80% of the market, especially in our city. This is an overgrown village. This is not a city really, right? Because people are so good. Like, you see how well, if you want to see the goodness of Canada, you should come to Vancouver, right? So you consider to be even better than. So anyway, so that way you have to network. There's no way to access that hidden job market without networking. I cannot think of a way of doing. AI cannot help you there. Nobody's going to put it into AI, right? Yeah, just meet people. You don't have to be an extrovert to do this. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sunny. And
Yeah, absolutely. So fantastic question. Amit, very nice to meet you. I would say that naturally I encourage anyone interested in joining RBC to, of course, seek opportunities online, see what's available, match your experience and skill set to those. And even though the theme of today's discussion is AI, never discount the connection for two people to interact in person. That human touch is quite unique. So, for example, when I was in the branch, and I'll share a story, I'm the one sharing stories. When I was in Abbotsford, I had an individual whose resume was passed to me from a different branch. Because this individual, although he was in Langley, was going branch to branch to meet the managers and have a connection and kind of do their elevator pitch, just needed a few minutes of your time. Here's my experience, this is why I think I'll be a good candidate. Now, that particular branch may not be hiring. However, if they're impressed, they can circulate that resume to fellow leaders within the market, the Lower Mainland, you name it. That's how I got this gentleman's resume. Now, this gentleman was from Dubai, and he wanted to work in Abbotsford. Why he wanted to leave Dubai and work in Abbotsford? He just wanted a fresh new start. And was he overqualified for this entry-level role? Absolutely. However, I knew, to the previous question, we knew which role he wanted to go into, which was Phillips Hager North. It's our investment counsel firm downtown. So he got his foot in the door, developed a certain skill set, and he had skills for that future role consideration. And just about a year later, he was successfully transferred to the downtown branch where he really wanted to go. And yeah, and to say you had a hand in that, everyone's journey is different, but to say you had a role in that and kind of guided him along the way, it's a great feeling. So that's what I would encourage. Just good old-fashioned door-to-door, meet people, connect, and you develop a network that way. So.
On that note, you can also contact Sportshaw College. We have several campuses.
Our resumes start looking very much the same, especially with the use of AI tools. What I notice is more and more what you're getting is the same thing. Everybody's got degrees or you've got this background. So sometimes having that little bit of human connection really makes a big difference. And sometimes I feel like it's like a dating. Is you got to like each other in order to move forward. So don't lose the networking. It's great to meet people in person, and it really does open up doors.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for coming to the conference today in person, taking the time to listen to us and then ask a really great question.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, so I think we have time for one more question, and I'm just going to go up to the question that Ikram posed, 10 upvotes. And it's, as a recruiter, or if we say as an employer, how satisfied are you in assessing the soft skills or human qualities of a candidate using AI?
Soft skills are human qualities.
And so we've talked about the importance of soft skills, not just technical skills, as much as we talk about AI as a technology. Soft skills has been mentioned so many times today. I'm curious, I guess, Ikram, and if you want to add to this, please feel free, but asking the question about AI being used to assess a candidate's soft skills.
So I'll start with this one.
So if you allow, I'm here.
Yeah.
Just to clarify my question, so I just wanted to know that today we learned that besides the technical skills or the qualities you are looking for a candidate, the transferable skills or the soft skills, these problem-solving capabilities, those, how are you going to judge, or how satisfied are you using this AI in selecting the right candidate for your different positions?
Okay,
Thank you.
So, yeah, no, great question. Thank you so much, Vikram. From my lens and from my experience, I'm in a client-facing role currently, and in my previous capacity as well. Soft skills is best learned, again, with human connection. And it plays from the previous question as well. To characterize somebody's soft skills, I need to have a conversation with them. What can they bring? How do they communicate? And really assess in that moment and go, yeah, it can lead to an interview, absolutely. But haven't personally utilized AI to assess anybody's soft skills. I do believe that, to really stand out is to have a conversation with somebody when it comes to assessing soft skills particularly.
Yeah. Yeah, we also don't use AI to assess soft skills. In fact, that's one of the nemesis of AI. When you have 2,000 applications, there's an initial screening. That screening is not based on soft skills at all, keywords and things like that. Yeah, you're selecting someone for a customer service job, and if they're talking about empathy, and if they're those become soft skills, become keywords when it comes to an AI. Now, can you really use AI to assess soft skills? Technically, yes. There are artificial intelligence which can read your face, which you can read your facial movements and all those kind of things, right? But then that gets really advanced. I don't think anyone is doing now. It's a soft skills that you really assess when you actually meet a person in person. That's what you do. So how satisfied are you with? We haven't tried it, right? Yeah. So that's the area where you can ace, actually. If you're good at soft skills, you have a chance. Yeah.
And sorry, right before you jump in there, just as an example, in my current role, I'm in commercial financial services. It's quite strenuous. It's vast. We offer a ton of solutions to our clients and their respective businesses, but it varies by industry, and it can get quite complex. And I can get the technical skills of all the solutions we offer. I can read up on all the industries. But again, I'm meeting that client face-to-face. I need to have those soft skills. And if I'm a recruiter, I would want to meet somebody face-to-face and kind of match in terms of what skills are they demonstrating, and then ask questions about it to get further clarification and seeing how you're actually connecting. Thanks, Karen.
I'm going to probably echo what everyone's saying here, but I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I do think that technology is evolving, and I think perhaps in the future there might be some very sophisticated AI tools that might allow you to explore those areas. Not right now, but you never know. There could possibly be. But I do think it's always going to be a combination. You'll never lose that human piece that you need as part of it, but perhaps it might augment what we're already doing.
Great. Thank you. So I want to take a moment for us to thank our three panelists. We had Gagan from RBC, Sunny from Sprott Shaw, and Anita from City of Burnaby. Thank you so much for taking your time to share your perspective and experience.
So, thank you, David, for facilitating that. I think we've rounded out at this incredibly, what I would call, holistic conversation about AI, right? It's not AI by itself on its own. It's us being very much in the driver's seat. It's being in the center of it. It's about keeping a constant and persistent conversation about what it means in a very complex world, whether it be education or, you know, I think of the city of Burnaby, so many different facets of its work, whether it be traffic, whether it be community centers, whether it be public policy, whether it be bylaws, you know, finance, all of these complex areas are going to require all of these different minds coming to the table to have a conversation about what it's going to be. So thank you so much for coming and spending your time this afternoon. I think it's been incredibly rewarding and enlightening, and it opens up the doors for more conversations that we need to have. So thank you so very much for your time. Really appreciate it.